Hi, I'm back. So, welcome to my new series. My headphones just shut off. You can see into my house. This is also my house. This is also my house. Hi. Welcome to my new series from Out of the Craft Closet. I'm Sam. If you have not seen any of my videos before, I've done a lot of crafting videos, gardening videos, that kind of stuff. And I miss making videos, and I now have a new house, and I want to share stuff again, because, yeah, I finally have, like, quiet alone time where I can film again. The chaos has simmered down, we're settled in. We had our housewarming party this past weekend, and I'm just excited to, like, start being silly with crafts again. So this series is going to be a little bit different than what I've done before. It's a little more goal-oriented. So yeah. So this is my new office, craft space, etc. I painted the walls. It's called, like, Plum Crazy, I think. And if you can kind of see back here, this is our living room, and it's very bright because there's a lot of natural sunlight in there. But this color that we painted was called Privilege Green, and we're like, ooh boy. But apparently this color green is like a really common color green to paint things nowadays for people my age. Because I've had multiple friends who said, oh yeah, I use that exact same green. And it's a good color, like, what can I say? But, yeah, so we painted our house. It's pretty. The painting is bad. There's, like, streaks on the ceiling, and we're just gonna pretend that's not there, and you're just gonna look at my pretty face and not at that. But yeah, so this is my office. The place that I'm facing now is where my computer is. I've got craft stuff there. I've got, like, all along here, a big bookshelf full of crafts. And then just gonna lean out of frame here a little. Right here is a closet. Right here's a bathroom, but right here's a closet, and that's my craft closet. And here's the problem that I'm having right now. So we've moved a couple times in the past, like, 5 years. This is actually our second move in 3 years. 3 years. Yeah. 2 years ago we moved, then we moved again. And I have really picked up some new crafts and also got some really good deals on things that I've always wanted to try. And what ended up happening is I got a little overwhelmed. And now that I'm settled in, I have this craft closet in this craft room just, like, full of a lot of cool stuff, but it's still not really working for me. So I've seen a lot of people are really into, like, the whole, like, stash list thing, like, oh, I'm gonna do my stash down. It's because, like, it's kind of how the trends have gone. Like, having a big stash was a thing, and then getting rid of that stash became a thing, and now I've seen a lot more people, like, building up their stash again and, like, these walls of yarn. I've never been a wall of yarn kind of person, but I did already kind of do a little project with myself to reduce my yarn stash specifically because I realized that I had just collected a lot of yarn that I didn't actually want to knit with. So I've definitely become more intentional with my yarn purchases. However, in the past few years, I got really into costume making and, like, clothes making. Mainly costume making, though. We go to the Ren Fair, and I like to make us cute little costumes to wear. And what that has led to is a lot of materials being purchased for costume making, as well as just, like, you know, I've always wanted to try spoon carving, so I bought the stuff for spoon carving. I always wanted to try leatherwork, so I bought the stuff for leatherwork, but I have, so a little bit of it is me just, like, kind of irresponsibly spending money on craft supplies, but some of it is also because I have OCD. So just to dive into that a little bit, one of my big themes with OCD is just right OCD, and that does come up in my life a lot in very many different aspects, but a lot of it is, like, having trouble getting started doing things because it doesn't feel like the right time, and it's hard to explain because, like, parameters are not something that I can speak to other people. It's just what my brain decides is correct. So it's just a weird thing that I have to deal with, where sometimes I have to try to like break myself out of that cycle that was living. Anyway, it's one of those things that I kind of have to try to break myself out of that cycle. And even like video making sometimes like kind of gets in my way of getting things done, but I'm trying to break myself out of the cycle because video making is something that I enjoy, and like trying these new crafts is something that I enjoy. So that's part of what this series is kind of going to be, is like exposure therapy for me to break myself out of these cycles of not being able to do these crafts that I enjoy or try these crafts that I want to try because of my OCD. Yeah. So I have a craft closet full of stuff. I've got a lot of unfinished projects. A lot of things that I really want to start and just like dip my toes into. If it's something that I don't really care for, then I'll just, you know, maybe I'll like re-up my Mercari or something, and I'll put up supplies and stuff on there as I decide that I don't want them. Or I'll find that it does have a place in my craftiness, and I'll just continue doing it. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what the plan is here. I'm gonna try not to start too many things at once, because that overwhelms me. Oh, there's like one last thing I wanted to touch on. So somebody needed some attention. Don't we all? So anyway, yeah, part of the reason why I don't want to have this huge stash anymore is I, like, through doing the process of reducing my yarn stash, I realized that I actually don't function as well when I have a large craft stash. I definitely am like a fly by the seat of my pants and just kind of like to craft on a whim. So when I have this stash, it kind of determines what things I should be working on, and then I just don't do that and I buy something new anyway. Instead, I would rather use up what I have now so that I can open myself up to being able to just kind of pick up things as I go. So I am kind of like setting my goal of like getting everything reduced down so that it like fits in everywhere nicely, and like I have room in my closet, because it is just piles of stuff in that closet, like bins full of fabric and stuff. But yeah, I have the goal to kind of get this tidy, and if I can do that before I would need to like start getting stuff together to go to Rhinebeck next year, that's gonna be my reward for this. So that's gonna keep me accountable, and also making videos will keep me accountable because, hey, at least one person will watch, right, bud? God, the boogers. So anyway, that's the plan. So I'll try to maybe do this weekly at first. We'll see how it works out, because you know, life is lifing, and September and October are notoriously our busiest months just because we do lots of activities. But I'm just gonna do it loosey-goosey and see how it goes, and you know, we'll see where we're at after the next couple months of experimenting and trying this out. But yeah, so just other random stuff while we're here. I do plan on doing more gardening content come spring. I do have a little garden that I set up here at our new house, and it's just not much. Like, there's not much to show. But, you know, late winter, early spring, I'll be setting up some garden spaces. I have a lot of ideas. We have a pretty big area to work in, so I'm really excited to be able to start gardening again, and I'm ready to have a big garden again, because this past year I have not really had much of a garden, and I've definitely been missing that. But yeah, the yard needs a lot of work. This house has not had anyone living in it for a little while, and before then it was not taken care of super great. It was like redone, like refinished, but yeah, I've seen what it looked like before it was refinished and it was a little rough. So the yard definitely needs some love because they redid the house, but they didn't really do much with the yard. But there's some cool little stuff back there, and it's definitely a little more than a blank canvas to work with. It's cool. So yeah. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna pick up my first project for today, and yeah, you can see what I'm working on this week. So I'm looking forward to being here again. All right, so let's talk game plan for this week. I have like a list of projects that I want to do, and I obviously have like a lot of stuff that I can work with. I'm thinking about like all the projects that I already have started, and some of them might end up having to go on the back burner for a little bit just because I'm not feeling them. I think the like fall crafting is definitely in effect, and my priorities have shifted a little bit. So I kind of want to start a scrappy blanket new one. So I did those hexies that you saw in the like episode 0 last week. I did so many hexies, and that was like really good for getting through the period of life that I was in when I was making them earlier this year. Those are really good for just like getting me through being depressed earlier this year, but they are kind of a pain in the ass to make. And at this point, like, to make anything sizable out of them, I would be making them forever, and I just don't want to do that. So what I'm thinking of doing with them is turning them into like a little cushion for Kona, but I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to deal with it. But that will be something that will be happening. But I do want to have like a scrappy blanket to commemorate this new project so that we can, you know, have a progress bar of showing the passage of time. I do love art that shows the passage of time. So I'm thinking a granny stripe blanket. So I would like to get that started this week. I don't have any costume crafting that I need to do for the Ren Fair this week because it is Time Travelers Weekend, I want to say. And to be quite honest, I don't remember what we decided we were wearing, but it's not, I think we're just wearing a weird, yeah, that we'll see what happens there. I had ideas. But I don't really need to do any crafting for those costumes. So I'm thinking maybe I'll work on aprons. So I had made these really cute, or we had a sewing day earlier this year with our friends. Becca didn't sew, I sewed. She brought cross stitch along though. And I made a apron for myself, and I had cut out an apron for Becca, but I wasn't able to do hers because I ran out of fabric. And I cut the one piece wrong. So I got more fabric for that like after I moved in, and I just haven't had a chance. And I really want to make that because we can't find some of our aprons, so they're either hiding in my closet somewhere or we just left them behind, and I don't think our roommate would reach out to tell us if he found any of our stuff at this point. So whatever, it's a loss. So I want to at least have an apron for her though, because I kind of just have 2 aprons that I like to wear. Sorry, Louis is just licking my hand and nasty. Okay. So I think those are my 2 like things that I would like to try to tackle this week, other than just like trying to work on ongoing projects that I have. Like I have a sweater. I'm knitting the Mama cardigan by Pip and Pin. That I've been just doing on the couch because it's kind of nice. There's like a honeycomb stitch, like a brioche stitch thing on it, but it's pretty easy for me to pick up on the couch. I've got some cross stitch that's just art for our walls. Yeah, so I have plenty of things to work on, but I want to start tackling things in the closet. So And then I forgot I had this until I went in there, but I'll just add this to apron making because, like I said, we lost some aprons. I got this panel at one point for a skeleton apron, which is super cool. So, yeah, it even has, like, the pocket so that it matches. Yeah. So I think I will make this apron too, and then that'll just be an extra apron that can go on the back of our door. We have one like displayed in our kitchen. It's really nice. And this was extra fabric to go with that. I think this is just black linen fabric. But yeah, it's nice. It has all the instructions written right on the panel. You just snip this out and make an apron. So yeah, so that's the first thing that I want to do, and then the granny stripe blanket using my yarn scraps is the second one. So I'm gonna work on that this week, and then whatever else happens. And so I'm gonna just go craft, and then I will check back in with you at the end of the week. All right, so let's wrap it up. I'm actually warm. I thought I was gonna be too chilly in my office today, but I'm actually quite warm. Okay, so I wanted to wrap up what I worked through this week, but first I wanted to quick say, so I do have a spreadsheet that I am using to like keep track of yarn and like how much of my yarn I'm using, but that it doesn't really apply here because I'm not specifically targeting my yarn stash. So I'm just gonna keep track of like projects finished each week and like what week I started them in so that I can have like a nice little list whenever I'm done with this. Cause I like stats. Your girl likes to have some stats. So like for the last episode when like the episode 0, I forgot to mention that I did work like 51, I kept track of how much time I spent working on those projects. I worked 51 hours, almost 52 hours on those. And, yeah. Sorry, looking at my spreadsheet behind you. But my totals for yarn currently, at the beginning of the year, I was at 27,000 yards, and I'm at 20,000 yards now. And that's between just like working on some projects, and I did destash some before we moved. But I want to get that down a little bit further because I also have hand spun yarn, and for hand spun yarn I have about 32,000 yards of yarn. And I also have like a bunch of fiber to spin. So yeah, I want to get my stash down, both regular yarn and hand spun yarn, because it's taking up a lot of space still. And yeah, we went over that, but that's not my big focus. My focus honestly is more like sewing and stuff, because that's what's taking up a lot of the space in that closet, and also just like the various, you know, like spoon carving and stuff that I have all these tools for but haven't done anything with. And leather, I have a lot of leather. Never done any leather work, but we're gonna try. But I think like these first few episodes are probably gonna be very sewing focused because that's the stuff that I need to get out of the way, and I'm also in Ren Fair season until the end of October. So I will be like repairing and like making costumes for that, although I'm not making a ton, but regardless. So yeah, I don't have like stats, which I know like it's not as fun to be, you know, I don't have specific stats, but I'm still going to like keep track of how many projects I finished, and then, you know, we'll see the ultimate goal of my closet being able to be organized in a nice manner. So anyway, let's do a wrap up of what actually happened this week. So first of all, the crochet blanket, I didn't really film a lot of it, but I'll probably try to in future weeks. But this was my like, I feel kind of and I don't feel like doing anything. I took a mental health day this week, so I worked on this then. But yeah, I got a few rows done, and it is a like queen sized throw, so it's quite large. This is definitely going to be an at-home only kind of project, but yeah, I'm happy with how it's turning out. I really like, you know, the chaotic colors, and, you know, granny stripe is really easy to just work up while, you know, you're watching a movie or whatever. So yeah, I've just been keeping it in a yarn bowl, whatever my active yarn is. I've got a cute little hook that I'm pretty sure I got in one of those like magazine things. You know, you get a free crochet hook with your crochet magazine. But yeah, so that was a fun project. So I have a stitch marker on it that I'm just gonna move each week to show how far I got on it. So I will move it now. I'm also trying to do a like weave in your ends as you go kind of situation, which is working so far. I have some little bits that I might need to trim off, but all in all, I'm hoping to not really weave in any ends, and that will also mean that I'll waste less yarn. I'm good at using up yarn waste, but I'm trying to not have to weave in a bunch of ends. I think that's my main thing. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I definitely am looking forward to watching this grow as I do this project. What else did I actually finish this week? I guess just the aprons. So I made 2 aprons this week. That was my goal, was to make these 2 aprons. So this one here, the little skeleton guy that you saw me make, that was from a panel that I got at Joann, I think last year or the year before, and it's just been sitting in my stash. And yeah, that was really quick. I made it during the Dirty Hoe Coven meeting this week, and it only took like an hour and a half maybe to throw this together. So yeah, I would honestly buy more panels like this just because it's so easy to make really, really cute aprons. But obviously I'm not doing that right now since I'm trying to reduce my stash. But this is something I would definitely purchase again. I think it was like 10 bucks. And it had all the instructions included and all the pieces, and you just had to like cut it out and sew it, and it was quick. And then the second one, gosh, I wish I could remember the pattern. I might have it. Hold on. Hold, please. Cool. So I don't actually know what pattern it is, but this is what the pictures look like of the actual aprons. So I made this one for myself already, this one here. And then this is the one that I just made for my wife with like the thinner top bit. So I made this all last night. It took me maybe 3-ish hours, 2.5 to 3 hours. I already had the fabric cut. This was cut from like months ago. I want to say June or July was when I cut this out. But yeah, so it has this cute little v-neck top that's kind of thin. It doesn't like cover your whole front. And then a little gathered skirt. And I put this patch on the pocket because I have a bunch of these patches from Fennec Design because they're a local artist and I buy a lot of their stuff. But yeah, cute little patch. I zigzag sewed it on. I kind of wanted this to look a little like I wanted it to look homemade. So I did some like visible stitching. The top thread that I used was pink. And I actually used not bias binding, like woven hem tape for the edging, and then also the pocket is like a lace hem tape on the edge. But yeah, I'm really proud of how this turned out. It looks really cute. Also, I learned a new gathering trick when I was watching some tutorials on YouTube because I hate gathering skirts. It's such a pain in the ass. I hate having to do the basting stitches. My sewing machine doesn't really have a long basting stitch. I know, or at least I haven't figured out how to do it. So I always end up hand basting and it never ends up even. It always looks bad. But then I saw someone on YouTube say, oh, well, you can just sew a piece of elastic on, like stretch it out, and then when you let it go, like you sew it a little bit, you can sew it less than what you want the width of your skirt to be. And then when you sew it in, it's gathered. And I'm like, why did I never think of this before? That's so easy. Look how nice that is. So I'm never going back. I have a ton of elastic that I bought because I bought a bunch at Creative Reuse when I started making costumes. So I have plenty. And it's not like super good elastic. like, it's some of it's starting to go, but it just needs to be a little stretchy. So yeah, I'm never going back. I'm gathering all my skirts with elastic now. Because like, even if once the elastic starts to like crumble and die, it doesn't really matter because you don't need it to be stretchy. You just need it to be stretchy in the moment. So it doesn't matter if you're using like shitty old elastic. I don't know. I love it. I'm so happy. So yeah, that is what I worked on this week. Oh, one more thing. I got like 0 footage of this because I was not sitting in places that it was easy to film, but my wife got a little teeny clip of me working on my sock at the Ren Fair. So I got one of these little bubble things, and in a future week, I would like to make like a leather case for this so that I like to put it on my little, you know, belt with my pouch with my money in it and stuff so that I can like walk and knit. But yeah, for now, I just had tied it on with a ribbon. That didn't work super great. I definitely need to come up with a better solution for next week. Anyway, I was knitting this at the Ren Fair. I had barely started it, and now I have this much. And this is the Ponyo self-striping colorway from Tiny Human Knits. And it's so cheery and so cute, and it is very Ponyo. So yeah, I love these. I can't wait to make them. That's the funny thing is, like, I prefer black. I know I'm wearing yellow right now, but like, I prefer to wear black. I have a lot of black clothing and a lot of flouncy black dresses, but I love really colorful stripy socks, like really vibrant socks. So yeah, I have a lot of self-striping yarn. I think I have all of Tiny Human Knits Studio Ghibli colorways. That was like my allowable yarn purchase for the year. Yeah, so cute. Yeah, I need to figure out a solution for this, but it's perfect because I can make it look like kind of like a potion bottle, and then my yarn's coming out of it. So yeah, and I really want to get to the point where I can carry this with me on walks around the neighborhood so that I can knit and walk, because I do like knitting and walking. I think I have a clip of me from, I was trying to take a clip of me from earlier in the week going on a walk with this. I've done a 5K while knitting. Like, I was knitting a sock while I was doing a 5K, and I even turned a heel, which I was pretty proud of myself for, because it was challenging enough to knit and walk. But that's a skill that I would like to build, is knitting and walking. So I'm hoping that this bubble will help me do that. But yeah, that's all I really worked on this week. I do have, where'd it go? I have one more thing that I want to show you. This is not something that I made. It's just something that I think you as a person who are watching my videos would probably appreciate. So at the Ren Fair, I tried... At the Ren Fair, I was like, I don't need to buy anything this week. I'm just gonna like chill. And then I had a moment. So just for context, I am starting to work on like my ideas of what I want the backyard to look like at this house. Like, and I think finally this weekend we have like a solid plan. I have all the materials to do what I'm gonna do for this season, and then a lot of planning and strategizing for the spring so that I can make this dream happen. But in the meantime, getting little things has been really getting me through, like having to basically build this yard from scratch. And yeah, we want to eventually have a little pond, and I saw this and I was like, ah, is that what I think it is? And the artist was like, yeah, it's a toad house. Look how cute this is. It looks like little like pebbles, and there's dragonflies on the top and a little chimney. But yeah, it just sits on the ground and little frogs and toads can hide underneath it, and I think it's cute. And it just, I have lots of, I've been trying to like amass little like fairy garden type stuff to put in like the herb garden section that I'm making, but I think this will be perfect and it will go very well in it. So yeah, the artist is Ironworks Pottery, I believe. They're at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, and I just, oh my god, it's so cute. So yes, nice little accent piece that will be going in our garden, and I hope that toads find it. Alright, so that is the end of this week. Thank you for watching this first official episode. I know that it was not as long as the previous episode. I'm still getting used to filming on a daily basis, and you know, filming in a week, you gotta squeeze it in wherever you can, especially since I work full-time. So yeah, I'm getting into the groove, but I'm very much enjoying this. So I look forward to seeing you next week then. Comment down below, tell me what you're making for the fall. I'm really excited to see what's going on. And yeah, I'll see you next time.